Hello, welcome to American Baker in Germany. I'm Michelle, and today we're going to make a unicorn cake for a very belated birthday of one of my husband's cousins. And I'm very excited about doing this cake because it is very long overdue. So what we're going to make is 4 layers of 4 different unicorn colors, doing pink, teal, purple, and white. And we're going to make that into a unicorn face with the little eyes on it and the horn on the top and little ears. And I'm very excited about making that today. I've never made one before, and so let's get started.
I start out doing some preparation work. I need to make the horn and ears to let them dry before I put them on the cake. I mix gum paste with white fondant to make a 50-50 mixture. The gum paste will help it dry harder and faster, and the fondant will help it be more elastic and easier to work with. Then I roll it into a long tapered log and wrap it around a skewer, beginning at the tip and winding around until it gets to the bottom. I found it to be a bit long, so I cut off the bottom. But I also noticed that the coils were having trouble sticking together. The horn was very unstable. I tried to stick them together with a bit of edible glue between the coils and let it dry to see if it were a bit more stable. Then I rolled out my 50-50 mixture and cut out triangles, minus a bit off the sides, to form the ears. I tried to make them as close to the same size as I could. Then I cut out a few small triangles, trimming off the sides, to make the inside of the ears. I stuck them onto the big pieces with a bit of edible glue. Then I wrapped them face down around my fondant rolling pin to let them dry in that shape. The horn I made earlier totally didn't work. Look at this. It's coming apart. I decided since I didn't like it that much anyway, it's time to start over. I roll out another tapered log, but this time, instead of coiling it around a skewer, I coiled it around itself, starting at the bottom. Then to even it up a bit, I rolled the whole thing on the counter. Then I carefully inserted the blunt end of the skewer into the horn about halfway up. This time it was obvious, the horn was much more stable than the first time. Then, since the ears were already dry at this point, I decided to paint them. I mixed gold luster dust with clear alcohol to make gold paint, and painted it onto the middle of the ears. Then, after I had let the horn dry for half a day or so, I painted it with the gold paint as well. Okay, I've left the horn on top of 2 cups, with the stick resting between the cups and the cups bearing the weight of the horn. Then I touched up the gold paint on the horn and let it dry. Now we're finally at cake. I stacked the layers of colorful vanilla cake, beginning with purple on the bottom, then white, then teal, and finally pink. I only filled the cake with the thinnest layer of buttercream to keep it from being too sweet. Then, because the sides didn't line up quite right, I trimmed the sides to be even. It also showed the gorgeous color off the inside. Then I crumb coat the cake with buttercream and chill it. I don't frost it again because I'm covering the cake in fondant and the frosting is quite sweet, so I didn't want to use too much. Once the cake has been chilled, I roll out my white fondant and cover the cake with it. I smooth it with my fondant smoother and my hands and trim off the excess with a sharp knife. At one point, my husband said it looked like a straw hat. I used 3 colors of fondant to decorate it, the same 3 colors that are on the inside: pink, purple, and teal. I begin by making the first lock of hair and decide that I want to put on the eyes first, so I roll out a thin log of purple and make 2 arches that are about the same size. Then I stick them on with edible glue. Then I begin putting the eyelashes on the inside and realize that they should go on the outside. Each eye gets 2 eyelashes on the outside of the eye. Then I place my first lock of pink hair curling around the top of the cake and down one side. Then I do the same thing with my purple and teal fondant. The rest of the locks of hair are shorter and don't curl around quite as much. Then I place the ears, cutting one of the locks of hair of the mane to make room for it, and place the horn in the middle. I know that it wasn't quite perfect, but I loved how it turned out anyway. The birthday girl was excited and was so happy to see her 2 favorite colors, purple and teal, on the cake, as well as her favorite figure, a unicorn. While preparing to make the gold paint for the ears, I was trying to only make a tiny bit. But accidentally dumped a whole bunch of gold luster into my palette and had to make an attempt to clean it up.